Hello, my dear friends. Today we'll discuss a topic that I know has been troubling many of us, especially when we've reached that threshold of 60, 70 years old. That feeling of numbness in our hands, those aching pains in our knees, and our legs suddenly becoming weak and heavy. Do you know what's concerning? After this age, our bodies change tremendously, and sometimes the very things we think are good for us are silently harming our legs. That's precisely why our joints suddenly become stiff, our muscles weaken, and pain quietly creeps throughout our body. Truly, these small changes in our bodies can lead to consequences much greater than we imagine. These pains don't just affect us physically, but also profoundly impact our spirits, making it difficult to take leisurely walks around the neighborhood to breathe fresh air, hard to lift ourselves out of the car when visiting children and grandchildren, or even difficult to open that favorite jam jar to enjoy breakfast. Just like that, everyday activities and simple joys suddenly become challenges, and our lives seem to gradually shrink, confining us within familiar four walls, making us feel dependent, useless, and deeply saddened. The worry about unsteady steps, fear of falling, fear of bothering others continues to haunt us. But my friends, don't let these pains rob you of life's joy and your precious independence. Remember, our legs are the important hinges that help our bodies stay flexible, help us move and explore the world around us. When they're affected, life becomes more difficult. However, the good news is, there's great hope in helping our legs become healthy again. We can absolutely take initiative in caring for and nurturing them. Today, I will introduce you to 8 types of fruits that I've witnessed can cause unwanted effects on leg health in seniors. This isn't a weapon against life's pleasures, to take away the delicious foods you love. On the contrary, this is important knowledge, so you can confidently make wiser choices for yourself, so that each of your steps is steady and no longer painful. Because I've seen too many kind people like you, having to endure unnecessary pain, undeserved limitations, unwarranted sadness, and I don't want you to become one of them. I want you to live a complete life, not bound by pain. Before diving deep into these fruits, let's explore together why our legs start complaining so much as we age. Understanding the enemy will help us develop more effective battle strategies. First and very common is poor blood circulation. Picture this. Our blood vessels are like irrigation channels throughout the body, carrying fresh oxygen and precious nutrients to nourish every cell, every muscle fiber. As we age, these channels often flow more slowly, sometimes even narrowing due to residue accumulated over time. This means oxygen and nutrients can't reach our legs adequately and timely. Like a tree not watered regularly, it will gradually wither, roots dry up and begin to ache. The consequence is our legs easily become cold, numb, and pain appears, especially at night, or when weather changes suddenly become cold. It feels like our legs are no longer warm and alive as before. Second, are joint problems like arthritis or degeneration. Our bone joints are covered by a smooth, soft cartilage layer like rubber shock absorbers for cars. This cartilage layer has the function of reducing friction between two bone ends, helping joints move smoothly. However, over time and through many years of use, especially when we've passed 50, 60 years old, this cartilage gradually wears down and thins. At that point, bones may rub directly against each other, causing dry creaking sounds and uncomfortable aching pain whenever we move. It's like an old door that's stuck. Every time we open and close it, there's a sticking sound and it's very difficult. Additionally, chronic inflammation is also a silent enemy. In our bodies, there may be smoldering inflammatory flames that persist without our knowledge. These flames can attack and destroy tissues, making joint pain more severe, difficult to control, and persistently prolonged. Sometimes we feel aching pain throughout our bodies without clear cause. This could be a sign of systemic inflammation affecting different areas, including our legs. And finally, sometimes the habit of little exercise, or exercising incorrectly, is the culprit. When we exercise little, muscles weaken and become less flexible. This increases pressure on joints and other structures in the legs. Conversely, over-exercising, suddenly or with wrong posture, also puts great pressure on legs, leading to injury and pain. However, my friends, don't despair. The good news is we can absolutely take initiative in improving this condition. By understanding the causes clearly and making smart choices in our diet, we can help our legs become healthy again. 8 types of fruits that may affect leg health in seniors. Although fruits are considered gifts from nature, sometimes even the best things need to be reconsidered when our bodies change with age. Below are 8 types of fruits that I've observed may affect joint and leg health in older adults. Not because they lack collagen, but because of other effects on our body. Let's explore together. 1. Rambutan, tropical sweetness and hidden complications. Arthur, 71 years old, a gentleman with a warm smile, discovered rambutan at an Asian grocery store in the Vietnamese district and was enchanted by its natural sweetness. It's like natural candy, doctor, he told me, and I thought it must be healthy because it's fruit. But after several weeks of eating rambutan regularly, Arthur began to feel joint stiffness and aching in his ankles. Rambutan, despite being a natural tropical fruit, has a very high sugar content, even higher than mangoes. 1 cup of rambutan can contain up to 20 grams of sugar, and Arthur usually ate more than that. With the slow metabolism of seniors, this amount of sugar cannot be processed efficiently. What's particularly dangerous with rambutan is its structure. Because it's small and easy to eat, people tend to eat many without realizing it. Arthur often ate 10 to 15 rambutans at once, equivalent to the sugar content of a soda can. This high sugar content not only causes blood sugar fluctuations, but can also lead to chronic inflammation. Arthur began to feel aching in small joints, especially ankles and toes, along with a slight burning sensation. When he reduced rambutan to only 3 to 4 fruits per serving and didn't eat them daily, the symptoms decreased significantly. I never thought something so small and sweet could affect my entire body, Arthur shared during his follow-up visit. 2. Grapes, small fruits, and big consequences. I still remember David, 65 years old, a tall man with elegant silver hair, who retired after 40 years as a talented engineer. He had a very endearing habit. Every evening he would eat a small bowl of grapes, while watching news or his favorite sports programs. It helps me relax, he told me, and I read that grapes are good for the heart. Doctor. But then knee pain began to appear, especially at night when he was resting. The pain was dull, sometimes accompanied by throbbing sensations in small joints like toes. At first, David also thought it was just a sign of aging, just getting old. But when I asked more carefully about his diet, about the smallest daily habits, I began to have suspicions. Grapes, these small, beautiful fruits, contain a large amount of fructose, a type of fruit sugar processed directly by the liver. For young people with healthy livers, processing fructose usually isn't a problem. But as we age, my friends, our livers can no longer process fructose as efficiently and quickly as before. What happens when the liver can't process all that enormous amount of fructose? It can convert to fat and especially uric acid. This uric acid then accumulates in the blood and gradually deposits in joints, especially small joints, in toes, ankles, and knees, places where blood flow is usually slower. David began to feel sharp pains in his big toe at night, knee stiffness upon waking in the morning, and sometimes tingling sensations in his feet. These are very typical signs of uric acid accumulation, commonly seen in gout, an extremely painful form of arthritis. I don't understand, he said with a confused expression. Why just a few small, sweet grapes could cause this, doctor? I explained to David that with age, our bodies become more sensitive, more fragile. Things that seemed harmless, foods we've enjoyed since youth, can now become a silent burden. David tried replacing grapes with a few fresh blueberries, or occasionally eating a few cucumber slices. And surprisingly, after a few months, the nighttime pain decreased significantly, and he could sleep better. That's when I realized that sometimes the smallest changes in diet, choices that seem insignificant, make the biggest difference to our health and quality of life. 3. Oranges, morning sunshine and hidden pain. Sarah, 70 years old, a former teacher with a gentle voice and eyes full of kindness. She had a habit she'd maintained for over 30 years. Every morning she would personally squeeze a glass of fresh orange juice to start her new day. That's how I start my day, Dr. said. Vitamin C in oranges helps me stay healthy and energetic, like a morning sunbeam. But in recent years, Sarah began to feel aching in her hips and especially difficulty going upstairs, each step heavy and sharp with pain. When Sarah described her pain, a slight burning sensation in joints, especially worse in the morning and after exercise, I began to think about citric acid in oranges. Oranges, despite being fresh, fragrant, and rich in vitamin C, contain a considerable amount of natural acid. For young people with healthy digestive systems and tissues, this acid usually doesn't cause major problems. But as we age, especially after 60, our stomach lining and joint tissues become much thinner and more sensitive. Citric acid doesn't just stay in the stomach. It's absorbed into the blood and can irritate soft tissues around joints, especially areas that already have mild inflammation due to age or other health issues. Combined with the natural sugar content in oranges, even though it's natural sugar, when drinking juice, sugar is absorbed faster because there's no fiber. This silent inflammatory process can make joints swell, stiffen, and become more painful. The pain may not be severe but is persistent and uncomfortable, significantly reducing our flexibility. Sarah tried reducing orange juice to just a few sips each morning, replacing it with a warm glass of water with a little honey or a few ginger slices. After a month, she began to notice mornings weren't as stiff as before. She could stand up more easily and climbing stairs became less difficult. I never thought that what I considered good for health, what had been with me for so many years, could actually harm me, she sighed, her voice full of surprise, mixed with some regret. Sarah's story is a reminder that sometimes familiarity conceals things we need to reconsider. 4. Green apples. The safe choice, that's not so safe. Michael, 63 years old, a meticulous man who likes to control everything in his life, especially his diet. He chose green apples as his daily snack, because he believed they had less sugar than red apples and were an absolutely safe choice. I always choose what's best for health, Dr. E told me, and green apples seemed like the smartest choice. But after a while, Michael began having digestive problems, feeling bloated, uncomfortable, and along with that were hip joint pains, especially worse in the evening. What Michael didn't know was that green apples, despite their tart taste and being favored by many, contain a large amount of malic acid, precisely what creates their characteristic sour taste. Malic acid, though natural and not a toxic substance, can irritate the digestive tract of seniors. When our stomach and intestinal lining is regularly irritated, the body responds by creating an inflammatory reaction, and surprisingly, this inflammation doesn't just limit itself to the digestive system. Inflammation is a spreading process in the body. When the digestive system is regularly irritated, joints can also be affected by inflammatory flames that spread. Michael began to feel knee stiffness in the morning, persistent hip aching when walking farther than usual, and a slight burning sensation in his feet in the evening. Moreover, although green apples taste less sweet than red apples, they still contain a considerable amount of natural sugar. With the slower metabolism of seniors, even this small amount of sugar can cause minor fluctuations in blood sugar, leading to feelings of fatigue in legs and uncomfortable nighttime cramps. I advised Michael to try eating apples with some almonds or cheese to balance the acid and sugar, and reduce the quantity to just one small apple per day instead of eating too many. The results were quite surprising. Digestive problems decreased significantly, and hip joint pain also gradually subsided, helping him feel more comfortable when walking. Michael's story reminds us that even the safest choices need to be reconsidered when our bodies change with age. 5. Pineapple. Miraculous enzymes and hidden risks. Linda, 66 years old, an active woman always concerned about health and regularly researching new nutritional trends. She had heard about pineapple's anti-inflammatory benefits and began eating several slices of fresh pineapple daily, sometimes even drinking pure pineapple juice. I read that bromelain in pineapple can help reduce joint inflammation. Doctor, she told me excitedly. But after several months of maintaining this habit, Linda began to feel her legs swelling, especially in the afternoon and evening when she sat resting. Bromelain, the enzyme found in pineapple, truly has anti-inflammatory effects and supports digestion. That's undeniable. But what Linda didn't know was that bromelain can also interact with certain medications, especially blood thinners that many seniors must use daily to prevent stroke and heart problems. Bromelain can enhance the effects of these medications, making blood thinner than necessary, causing unstable blood circulation, leading to leg swelling and uncomfortable heavy sensations. Additionally, pineapple also contains a considerable amount of natural sugar and acid. Linda often had the habit of eating pineapple in the morning before breakfast, thinking it was a good way to cleanse the body and kickstart digestion. But in reality, eating pineapple on an empty stomach, especially with high acid content, can irritate the stomach lining and lead to mild inflammation in the body, adversely affecting joints. Sugar in pineapple, though natural, if eaten in large amounts without fiber or protein, can also cause blood sugar fluctuations. When I explained these things to Linda, she was very surprised. I advised Linda to reduce pineapple consumption, eating only a few small slices after main meals. Her leg swelling improved significantly in just a few weeks. I didn't think something advertised as healthy could backfire on my body. Doctor, she shared, her voice full of contemplation. Linda's story is an important reminder about the need to always consult doctors or pharmacists about drug-food interactions, especially when taking medications for chronic conditions. 6. Bananas. Superfood. 4 muscles or hidden trap. James, 69 years old, a former construction worker with calloused hands and a still robust build. He had the habit of eating 2 bananas daily, believing they were superfoods for muscles. Bananas are great for muscles, doctor, he said. They have potassium, help me avoid cramps. But recently, James began to notice his legs becoming increasingly heavy, especially after meals, and his ankles often swelled in the evening, feeling like water accumulation. Bananas are indeed very rich in potassium, and that's an important mineral for muscle and nerve function. However, what James didn't know was that too much potassium can cause serious problems for people with kidney or heart issues, problems very common in seniors. Our kidneys as we age may no longer efficiently filter excess potassium from the body as before. Excess potassium can lead to fluid retention in the body, causing leg swelling and uncomfortable heavy sensations. Moreover, ripe bananas, especially well-ripened ones, contain a considerable amount of sugar and easily digestible carbohydrates. For seniors with slowed metabolism, processing this sugar becomes more difficult, potentially leading to unwanted blood sugar fluctuations. These fluctuations are factors that trigger mild inflammation in the body and affect blood circulation in legs, causing fatigue and aching sensations. James also had a history of mild heart disease and was taking heart medications. Some heart medications can interact with high potassium levels in bananas, causing electrolyte imbalance, leading to leg weakness, fatigue, and difficulty walking long distances. when I advised James to reduce to only half a banana daily and combine it with some protein to balance the sugar. His leg swelling decreased significantly, and he felt much lighter. I never thought too much of a good thing could also harm me. Doctor, he whispered. James's story is an important reminder about balance and personalization in nutrition. 7. Helen, 64 years old, a woman always attentive to keeping her body hydrated, especially loving watermelon during hot Texas summers. It's almost just water, doctors should say, and helps me feel cool and refreshed immediately. But Helen began to notice that after eating watermelon, her legs often felt tired and heavy, sometimes even slightly swollen in the afternoon. True, watermelon consists mainly of water, but what many people don't notice is that it has a very high glycemic index. This means watermelon can raise blood sugar rapidly, almost equivalent to eating candy or drinking soda. For seniors, these sudden blood sugar spikes can cause inflammation in small blood vessels, especially in legs. Helen often ate watermelon as a snack, sometimes up to 2 to 3 large slices at once. This accumulated sugar amount forces the body to produce much insulin to process. But with age, our body's ability to respond to insulin may decline. The result is a mild chronic inflammatory condition that quietly persists in the body, affecting blood circulation in knees, ankles, and calves, making us feel heavier and more tired. I don't understand why just eating water could make me so tired, Helen asked with a puzzled expression. When I advised her to reduce watermelon portions to just one small slice and eat it with some fresh cheese or almonds to balance sugar and fiber, leg fatigue improved noticeably. The lesson here is that even watery fruits need to be enjoyed in moderation and combined properly to avoid burdening the body. 8. Mango summer sweetness and hidden worries. I still remember Brenda clearly, a 68-year-old woman with clear blue eyes and a warm smile like California sunshine. She came to see me on an autumn afternoon, walking slowly, hands trembling as she gripped the clinic hallway handrail. Dr. Shea said in a trembling, worried voice, I don't understand why my legs are so heavy. I eat very healthily, I walk every day, yet every afternoon, my legs feel like someone tied weights to them. So heavy I can barely lift them. Brenna told me about her favorite habit. Every day she enjoyed one ripe mango, sometimes 2 in a row, especially on hot summer days. She believed it was a wonderful way to supplement vitamins, keep the body cool and refreshed. But through examinations and detailed conversations about daily habits, I began to notice a surprising connection, a coincidence that was not random at all. You know, mango is one of the fruits with the highest natural sugar content. An average mango can contain up to 45 grams of sugar. This number is almost equal to an entire regular soda can. And here's what most people, especially seniors, don't realize. When we pass 60, how our bodies process sugar changes completely. Our body's blood sugar regulation ability is no longer as efficient and responsive as in youth. When blood sugar spikes after eating mango, this can stress tiny blood vessels, those minuscule channels that nourish every muscle fiber in your legs. Gradually, these blood vessels can be damaged, blood flow significantly reduced, and oxygen, along with nutrients, cannot reach muscles efficiently. This can also lead to a condition called glycation, when sugar binds to proteins and hardens tissues. What's the result? Your legs begin to feel heavy, especially after each meal with mango. You might feel persistent aching in calves after a short walk that you used to handle comfortably. Knees might become stiff, difficult to bend when sitting long watching TV or reading. And worst of all, this process happens very slowly, very silently, so much so that you might not notice until the pain has become an inseparable part of daily life, considering it normal. I advised Brenda to try reducing mango consumption, eating only a few small slices instead of whole fruits, and not daily anymore. Instead, she could eat mango with some protein or healthy fats to slow sugar absorption. And miracles happened. After a few weeks, she began to feel her legs lighter, and the aching also noticeably subsided. Doctor, she said during follow-up, her eyes bright with joy, I never thought a small fruit like mango could impact my life so much. Brenda's story truly opened new perspectives for many people. Now, after we've discussed potential risks of some fruits for joint and leg health in seniors, I want to share much better news with you. There are other fruits, much better companions for your later life journey. These fruits not only nourish but also heal, helping your body fight inflammation and maintain flexibility. We don't need to give up the joy of eating fruit. We just need to choose more wisely. Think about small berries, nature's precious gems, like blueberries, raspberries. These tiny fruits have much lower natural sugar content than the fruits we just discussed, but are extremely rich in They help reduce inflammation, improve blood circulation, and protect small blood vessels in legs. I often advise patients to eat a small handful daily, mixed into yogurt, oatmeal, or smoothies. Then there are tart cherries, a potential miracle cure for joints. Tart cherries may help reduce uric acid, decreasing gout risk and joint pain. Just a small handful, not too many. And don't forget, avocados. Yes, avocado is a fruit, and it's a wonderful friend to joints. Avocados contain healthy fats that help lubricate joints from within, reduce inflammation, and stabilize blood sugar, avoiding fluctuations that stress the body. Ripe papaya is also a gentle and healing choice. Papaya contains natural enzymes that aid digestion without irritating the stomach like high-acid fruits. Finally, consider pears, a sweet but gentle fruit. Pears have less acid and sugar than many other fruits, and when eaten with some protein, they provide stable energy without causing blood sugar fluctuations. If you've read this far, I know you're someone who cares deeply about your health and future, and I want you to hear this clearly. This is more important than any number or food type. You still have time. You can still change. You're not alone in this journey. Old age doesn't mean accepting pain or limiting yourself. It means becoming wiser, listening to your body more, and making choices suitable for your current life stage. The fruits we discussed today aren't your enemies. They're simply no longer suitable for you at this time, no longer optimal choices for your changing body, like a favorite coat you've worn for many years. Sometimes we need to change to fit our changing bodies, to feel most comfortable and beautiful. I don't want you to feel deprived or restricted. Instead, think of this as an opportunity to discover new flavors, new ways of caring for yourself that are more effective. Perhaps you'll discover that a handful of fresh blueberries with some Greek yogurt tastes much better than you thought and brings feelings of lightness and vitality. Perhaps you'll find that an avocado slice with a bit of sea salt creates the satisfaction you've been seeking all along. Remember, every small change you make today is a gift you give to tomorrow's self. Every time you choose a fruit suitable for your current body, you're telling your legs, your joints, I care about you. I want you to be strong. I want us to walk many more roads together. And if you ever feel confused, if you ever don't know what to choose, don't hesitate. Remember, you can always consult your doctor. We're here to accompany you, not to judge or scold, but to listen, understand, and support you. Finally, I want you to know that true strength doesn't lie in being able to do what you used to do. True strength lies in the ability to adapt, learn new things, and care for yourself wisely. And you, my dear friend, you have that strength. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle with your body, and believe that good days are still waiting ahead. Days with steady legs, confident steps, and peaceful hearts, knowing you're caring for yourself properly. You deserve such days, and I believe you will have them.